That's Nick.
And that's Joseph. And today we're here to talk about Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, which premiered at the 2022 Toronto International Film Festival in the Midnight Madness program, where it won the People's Choice Award. I can't imagine having to sit through this at midnight. It is being released courtesy of the Roku channel, November 4th, 2022.
Shout out to Roku, because we have a Roku TV in our bedroom, and I really like that setup. So there's that. Okay, I really wanted to like this movie. I like Daniel Radcliffe. Mm-hmm. I think he's a really interesting, cute little guy. And I am a kid of the 80s, so obviously I'm very familiar with Weird Al.
Same.
So I was looking forward to this. I think the casting alone made me think that this was going to be just this out-of-control, crazy-ass movie. Because Weird Al looks very different from Daniel Radcliffe, and he's also much taller. Mm-hmm. But
and considering it was co-written by Weird Al and the director of this film, Eric Appel, who's heretofore worked in television, and this is technically his directorial debut for a theatrical release.
Unfortunately, I found this movie very hard to sit through. How many times did I say, like, I just wanted to turn it off? Like, it was very, very hard to sit through.
Well, because it's purposefully being like a satire, a parody of biopics.
So it's also done by the Funny or Die people, and it feels exactly like that. So it's not like, I don't understand what, I thought satire meant like funny, but it's
supposed to be.
But it's not funny. It's like you just have all these really notable people pretending to be other people, but there aren't really no jokes. To me, the only comedy writing is when we hear Weird Al's songs, because those songs are funny, right? The lyrics make you laugh. Those were pretty much the only moments I laughed were when we hear "Eat It," "My Bologna," "Amish Paradise," "Like a Surgeon." Mm-hmm. Those are the 4 songs we hear, right? Mm-hmm. That's it, and I laughed at those. But other than that, it was really, really hard. I mean, we have Conan O'Brien wearing an old shitty ass
Andy Warhol wig,
and literally just sitting there like, I'm Andy Warhol. Like, okay, but where's the joke? Like,
and Nina West as Divine.
Quinta Brunson is
Oprah.
And
I chuckled a couple times at her.
I did, because she's doing it in earnest. But the problem is everyone's just like, and then we'll tell the basic story.
Sure.
So it's basically like Weird Al as a kid, and it's sort of played like he wants to play the accordion, but they're making it like seem like he's gay. So it's like something that he has to hide, and his mom helps him get the accordion but says you can't let your dad see you. The dad catches him, gets upset. So when Weird Al goes to college, he gets with this group of friends, and they say like, you're free to like explore. So he comes out of the closet as like this accordion player, and then he writes a song, "My Bologna," submits it, and they're like, well, dude, no one becomes an overnight success. And literally the next line is like, the radio says that your song is an overnight success. And then the rest of the movie is him being like the world's biggest pop star. And the main storyline is that Madonna is dating Weird Al for the sole purpose of getting him to parody one of her songs, because she knows that if he does, her record sales will go up.
Because everybody gets that Weird Al bump.
The Weird Al bump. Okay, it's important to know that Pablo Escobar, the cartel leader, is infatuated with Weird Al and kidnaps Madonna in an effort to lure Weird Al. So then we get this moment where Weird Al has to save Madonna. He does, but in the process, Pablo Escobar gets killed. So then Madonna is now this big...
assumes the position
of this cartel leader.
With an eye patch.
And now has an eye patch and a scar on her face. And Weird Al has moved on. He wins a Grammy, and while he's giving his acceptance speech, Madonna has her henchmen kill him. And the final shot of the film is straight out of the movie Carrie, where Madonna is at Weird Al's gravesite, and his zombie hand reaches up and grabs her.
Yeah, it's almost as if Mel Brooks had wanted to direct the Weird Al biopic with a template of The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, the Nicolas Cage.
So I guess if you're going to do a movie about someone known for parodies and satire, then I guess one direction to go would be to make the biopic a satire. But then it's not funny.
But it's not smart enough to really be a satire.
So then you could go the other route and make it like, I was almost thinking it should be like The People versus Larry Flint. Like, you know, we made this dramatic piece about a smut peddler. Why don't we make this dramatic piece about... And to be fair, Larry Flint did break a lot of boundaries with like changing legislation and freedom of speech or print or whatever, freedom of the press. But is that what he did? I don't know. Now I sound stupid. But anyway... like maybe Weird Al's impact on like parody laws or something.
No, but that's a good point because I thought that it was going to head in that direction as well because there was a recent Italian film about Edoardo Scarpetta from Mario Martone, The King of Laughter, which is about the stage performer whose use of satire, other popular plays, changed the laws because of various lawsuits and...
So I think this could have been really subversive if this would have been a dramatic piece about this silly person in entertainment who like really was successful.
But its major crime is just that it's just not funny. But I don't know, this won the People's Choice Award at Midnight Madness, and I assume that there is an audience there that will embrace it. But I guess I wanted it to, at first I was just willing it to delve deeper into this kind of strangers with candy vibe that it has in the beginning, right? With Julianne Nicholson, who just played Marilyn Monroe's mother as Weird Al's mom, and Toby Huss, who is also in Blonde, even though I said it wasn't. I called him a different name. And it's like sometimes it almost gets there. It just...
It's not demented.
It's not demented enough.
Which I think is what the Strangers with Candy effect would have done.
And then I also thought I was introduced to Weird Al as a kid, along with my first memories of Pia Zadora, Anna Nicole Smith, Priscilla Presley, and O.J. Simpson in Naked Gun 33 1/3, right? So I guess I wish it had that kind of Naked Gun vibe. And again, you know, Mel Brooks, when he was very, very good, was excellent. But when Mel Brooks was not, you know, you get like silent movie.
So the opening of the film, Weird Al, like as a teenager, his friends are like, come to this party, like, you know, you want to be cool, right? Come to this party we're having. And he's like, I can't. My parents won't let me leave the house at night. And he's like, well, they're telling him, do a hey boy. And I'd never heard of a hey boy. And this is one thing that did make me laugh. Because when we find out what a hey boy is, it's basically like in his bed, he's made like a fake body out of hay so that his parents think he's in bed. I thought that was funny because I didn't know what it was. But then it's just overkill on how stupid it is because the party is a polka party. And Weird Al or Al is like so scared, like my parents will kill me if they find out I'm at a polka party, which is obviously ridiculous. It's harmless. And then he starts playing the accordion and all the kids love him. But it's just like, it's just this long gag that...
And the other gag is this is in a parallel universe where Eat It came before Beat It.
The big plot point is that Weird Al takes a turn where he's like, I'm not doing anything that isn't original. So then he goes to Weird Al's playing himself as a record executive. And the first time Daniel Radcliffe goes to Weird Al as the record executive, he's like, this shit is garbage. Who's going to pay for a silly version of a real song? But then he goes back with Eat It and says this is 100%. I mean, they really fucking hit it into the ground that this is an original song with original music, original lyrics.
With Weird Al playing the record executive from a Funny or Die sketch that he did as well.
And they love it. And then shortly thereafter, we see that Michael Jackson has released Beat It and copied Weird Al. But the problem with, they're presenting Weird Al like he's like the biggest pop star, but then they also make comments about other artists being big, like Michael. So it just...
I didn't mind Evan Rachel Wood as Madonna. I thought she did a pretty good Madonna impression. It's just that none of the dialogue, not none of it, but almost all of her dialogue is really not funny, or it's just like all of these obvious things that are said that, again, there's no punchline, there's no joke.
There's like a radio personality named Dr. Demento.
Oh yeah, his mentor.
Who's played by...
Rainn Wilson.
Who's his mentor and helps, you know, get him started. And then there's a scene where they have a meeting. It's also because his rise to fame is like meteoric and very rapid. It's like, I'm very, like the timeline of things, it's just none of it makes sense. But there's a moment when Dr. Dementor shows up and slips LSD in Weird Al's lasagna. So then we get a little montage.
Guacamole.
Guacamole, sorry. And he is tripping balls. And even that wasn't that funny.
No. And then, you know, they also make Madonna into this like slutty succubus, which is an odd choice, I thought too. But
another kind of funny scene is when Weird Al's dad wants him to just work in a factory. Even after he's become like the world's biggest star and has millions of dollars, his dad is still like, you're a disappointment, I want you to work in the factory. And the joke about the factory is no one knows what they make at the factory. So finally, when Weird Al decides, like, I want my dad to love me, he takes a job at the factory and he doesn't know what he's doing. So some guy ends up getting eaten alive by a machine. I thought that was kind of funny.
It was okay, but again, they could have drawn allusions to Andy Warhol's factory as well.
Sure.
And I also was expecting that scene with Toby Huss as the dad to be kind of like the John Boyd, Ben Stiller scene in Zoolander.
Then when Weird Al's reunited with his parents, his mom has become, like, she's gained a lot of weight. So they have like a fat suit on her. And it's funny because she looks silly, but then the joke is not there. Like, so...
It's there, but it's...
Well, I don't know what the joke was because she goes, well, clearly I gained weight. And he's like, yeah, but you still look great.
She's like, no, I'm fat.
No, I'm fat. And then it's
they're
like...
just quiet.
And then they're quiet, but then it's like a thing that she's fat. I don't understand.
I know, but again, that to me was very like Deborah Rush as the stepmom in Strangers with Candy. And it's like the tone is too all over the place and then it's just too... I don't know.
I will say the final scene with the dad is when... Because the mom... In the beginning, the mom explains to her young son that your dad has something from his past that I think is influencing why he's so hard on you. So now at the end of the movie, Weird Al asks his dad, what is this thing mom mentioned that... And then basically the dad reveals that he used to be an accordion player who wrote parody songs and that his dad wrote Amish Paradise. So then we get a montage of like illustrations of when... his dad was in Amish country that I actually thought was kind of cool. And then that goes into Weird Al performing Amish Paradise. And of course the songs, like the lyrics are funny. So I thought that was a nice little moment.
Yeah. And then Will Forte is on hand
I like Will Forte.
Who usually cracks me up just by being there.
I don't have anything else. I just thought that it's so funny this movie is called Weird because it is so weird. I was so unsatisfied.
No, it's not weird.
It's so weird that it's not funny is what I meant to say.
I don't think it even can be justifiably called weird. It's just goofy. It's just silly. I don't know.
It just feels like a 100-minute gag.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it'd be more satisfying if you just get on YouTube and like shuffle through Weird Al's music videos.
Yeah, again, I would have preferred to just hear more of his music.
Yeah. What would you give it?
And besides Daniel Radcliffe looking like he's in a Halloween costume version of Weird Al, but I would give it 1.5.
I would give it 1.5 out of 5. Anything else?
No.
Hit the thanks button. Listen to our podcast. Bye.